After sitting here for a bit and thinking about the reason why I succeeded in my weight loss transformation, I came upon this one thing consistently. I genuinely think to some extent, this thing is the thing that differentiates those who succeed and fail in weight loss, right? So most people who try to lose weight think about them needing to eat the most boring foods, and them needing to eat less and move more in general. That's true, that's how you lose weight. But here is the thing. Another concept that is not talked about a lot, right? It is being talked about. A lot of the mainstream diets, they think about it, they use this concept and they use it for weight loss. Because this concept, once you realize what it is, you realize how much simpler weight loss is than most people make it. So before that, it is about eating in a calorie surplus, a deficit, sorry. If you eat on a calorie deficit, regardless of what you eat and how much you move and all of that stuff, you will lose weight. It can be fat mass and it can be muscle mass if you won't train in the gym, right? But you will lose weight, no matter what. The thing is that when you are on a deficit, your body, especially, right? It's your body and your mind to some extent, increase hunger. Hunger in terms of cravings for tasty foods, right? That's one type of hunger. Another type of hunger is just physiological hunger. You feeling your stomach asking for food, right? If you want to lose weight, this feeling, to some extent, right, is unavoidable. But mainstream diets, those who work, those who are extremely popular because they work, they did one thing right. So some of them talk about the concept that you don't need to track calories. It is useless when you are on a ketogenic diet, or if you are vegan, don't even bother because it doesn't matter, calories don't count. This is some of the people, that's what I say, some of the people who use these diets. The thing is that they're wrong, calories matter, but these diets work, in my opinion, according to science, because they meet this one principle, this one concept. They reduce hunger. When you are on them, you don't need to think about calories, not because they don't matter, but because you get into a calorie deficit by default. These diets contain less hyperpalatable foods, less calorie dense foods, and because of that, so it's either one or the other or both, and because of that, they cause weight loss. So regardless of who you are, if as long as you are a human, right? If you will eat less than you burn, you will lose weight. But because of the fact that hunger is such a big obstacle for that, hunger in terms of mental hunger, right? Not doesn't there is not a thing called mental hunger, but your cravings for tasty foods is a thing. And this is one aspect of this hunger. Another aspect of it is your physiological one. If you will reduce both, minimize both to the greatest extent that you can, you will lose weight and you will have a pretty easy time doing that. And that's what I was doing throughout my journey. Sometimes I ate biscuits, right? This is not a really healthy diet friendly food, right? It contains more calories than other lower calorie dense foods, but these foods, this thing, this treat for me was the thing that satiated my mental hunger, my cravings for fucking sugary stuff. I ate them in the right amount. That's the kind of food the food that I was counting. So I counted the calories that were in biscuits, for example, and then I added them on top of my daily calorie intake, my rough estimate. This food I tracked meticulously because I knew that it contains more calories than any other food and it is not that healthy, so I tried to stick to like 100 or 150 calories of it. I didn't eat more, but this like 150 calories of no nutritionally beneficial food helped me a lot because it satiated my mental cravings. So back in the days, in these days, I didn't know anything about zero calories foods, so I didn't really eat them. I didn't really heard about them. I didn't really think about them. Um, I don't know why, right? But I might have used them a bit. I didn't use sweeteners or any of that. But because of the fact that I was on a calorie deficit and I ate lower calorie dense food than I used to be, and because of the fact that I ate the foods that satiated me, right? Mentally, not physically, right? They were hyperpalatable, so physically I felt hungrier after eating them, but because of the fact that they satiated me mentally, and then I ate the satiating foods for physical satiation. I ate the salads and shit like that. But because of the fact that I was satiated and I was on a calorie deficit, to some extent I was satiated, not to the fullest extent, I lost weight. And had an easier time losing weight. So it's not that I just lost weight. I lost weight, I both lost weight, and had an easier time doing that because of the fact that I kept two of these types of hunger in check and in mind. So in this video, you don't need to do the exact thing that I was doing because I didn't do it perfectly. I still felt hunger to some extent, and some days I was just starving physically, right? In some cases mentally, but it worked for me, right? That's just what worked for me. I wouldn't do it again, not in the way that I was doing it, but if this is just an advice from me to you that I built upon this journey, right? I looked back and then I came upon this concept of hunger and how regulating it is so important and why it is so important, and also how you should do it, right? How you should regulate hunger and why you should do it. So this is why you should do it, because you will have an easier time dieting. And how you should do it, you should just find the foods that you like to eat that satiate you physically to some extent and are pretty good in terms of their macros. To some extent, they should not necessarily be perfect. They should be good enough so you lose weight and you maintain a good amount of muscle mass. And then you should include things like sweeteners if you want for mental satiation, so you don't deprive yourself of all of the sugary tasty foods that you used to eat and you get burnout because of that and you quit this diet. So you can include some of them for the transition period. If you want to, you can stop consuming them. That's what I was doing. But if you don't want to, don't fucking stop to consume them. If you are in a healthy body weight with them, then they are pretty good for you, because if they are the things that help you, that cause you to have a way easier time in a lower body fat, then they're healthy for you. Why? Because your body weight and body fat, to be specific, is one of the most important things that you need to keep in mind for health. That's what the science says, right? I don't know exactly why. It might be wrong, new science might say new stuff, but obesity is one of the deadliest diseases, right? So keep this in mind. And then lastly, there is the thing called low calorie dense foods. I wanted to keep it to the end because it's obvious, right? You have probably heard about this advice of don't eat high calorie dense foods for weight loss because you will be hungrier, less satiated. And that's just true. That's just obvious. If you eat foods that are less voluminous, that are more satiating, that are less dense, because foods that are less dense are more satiating pretty much by default, you will have an easier time losing weight. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to make more raw videos like this one, you can like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Or not, on the other channel, right?